This is the emergency broadcast system. This is not a test. Repeat, this is not a test. Stay tuned for further instructions.
Wrote a song tonight. Here y'all go. It's for all you veterans. I don't know what I ever did wrong. All we did was stand for our land. But here I sit, begging in this soggy cardboard, begging for change from your hand. You're free to treat me as you do. I protected that right for even you. But please don't treat me as you do. Just remember someone's gotta fight. Don't turn from me in flight. Just look at this fleet of flight. At least you sleep well tonight. You're free to treat me as you do. I protected that right for even you. But please don't treat me as you do. Just remember, someone's gotta fight.
Happy Hump Day, everyone. I don't have an original quote, but this came to me through Wow on Facebook. And I think it fits just about everyone and anyone. So here it goes. I am not what I have done. I'm what I've overcome. Just me. You should appreciate that. I love you, man. I love you. I love you. As always, I like to also give my pledge of allegiance to the flag. And that is, I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which the flag stands, one nation under Almighty God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Folks, I'm here offering what I know to be truthful information. I'm the purveyor of truthful information. In fact, sometimes I'm even called Pody or Potty. It just depends on the accent that you have here in the United States, of course. But I'm gonna offer you folks some light on everything that is happening in our world. And in this case, I intend to expose my Lake Viking Association Home Oppressors Association. That's right, folks. Home Oppressors Association. I'm going to go through pretty detailed as to what I had to experience. This is on a personal level. So I'm telling you precisely what I had to do. I had to go out, redacted, of course, is my address, but I had to go out and put out what's called a small claims. And then I had to give and issue what's called the reason for. It was beautifully written to me. I, of course, put a few little things in it to make it a little bit more personal, but I do believe that this would actually help other people that are dealing with their association. So I wrote, Lake Viking Safety and the Lake Viking Infraction Board continue to issue unwarranted tickets for dubious reasons, and their word is final at the receipt of an infraction placed on a member of the community. For example, I was written an infraction by a safety officer with no valid reason for the infraction, nor was I allowed to face my accuser. I believe this is harassment, retaliation, and abuse of power with an attempt to wrongfully find stealing money and an utter disregard for the rights of the members of the Lake Viking community. Again, speaking to all members, not one asking me a question also at this infraction board meeting. The board is biased, and once an infraction is written, no matter how frivolous the fines, will not be reduced, negotiable, or dismissed. These actions from the Lake Viking are causing anxiety, mistrust, monetary crisis, constant looking over my/our shoulders. And I feel that I could be fined for anything that they make up, much like this infraction. This is a constant, fearful environment brought on by the actions of the Lake Viking Committee personnel, pitting neighbor against neighbor. The reason why I named this show the Lake Viking Association, the Lake Viking Association Home Oppressors Association, a communist community. This right here is a prime example of not allowing a person to face their accuser, not allowing a person to speak on behalf of themselves. I'm going to take this now and set it aside. So, having read that, I'm going to tell you about the incident. I think it's only fair. This was a big day in my life, by the way, folks. October 17th, 2022. I had just lived here 4 years shy when I had received my first infraction for allegedly bad driving, careless driving, and I can't remember the other lie. In short, these safety police are not post certified, meaning that they are not legally allowed to write you a ticket that would go against your driver's license. So, only 2 of these guards are post certified, meaning that they are both representative of the LEA, the law enforcement agencies, in this case, the Missouri State Patrol. I went in the office and asked what the fine was, having received the infraction on, say, the 20th or the 21st, 3-4 days afterwards, of which I had a sign in a registered mail because it makes it official to these bozos. Yeah, I'm going to be really having a lot of fun with this. The director, Jeff Ferguson, that would be Director Jeff Ferguson. I myself call him Dictator Funguson. That's what he is. He's a fungus among us. He laughed in my face saying, "You're going to get a $500 fine." And I'm like, "What? Are you kidding me? Are you serious?" I wanted to slap that smirk off his face, telling him I was not going to pay it. No, I wasn't going to pay it. By the way, the average speed out here is 30 miles an hour. What actually happened with that driving that day on October 17th, as I was, of course, rushed to go to a school board meeting for the first time in Cameron. We all know what I'm doing with the school board meetings in Cameron. And in doing so, I was behind this safety officer for 22 minutes. Top speed, by the way, 14 to 21 miles an hour. And it is posted 30 miles around the lake. Now, this individual, he could have, or she, let's just say it could have, because that's what it is, a safety officer. It could have respectfully allowed me to pass them. It could have pulled over and let me get by. I attempted several times using my blinker, honking my horn, and they still impeded my travel. That means they stopped me from going at a rate of which I should have been able to go comfortably, once again, at 30 miles an hour. Now, mind you, the lake roads are deplorable. You pay these heavy, what are called Home Oppressors Association property fees. They're horrible. And on top of this, I'm driving my girlfriend's vehicle loaded. And personally, myself, I will tell you, I drive my cars because I know that the tires, brakes, and everything is up to snuff. I drive them a little bit fast, no doubt about it. How do you drive a Mercedes or a 92 Mercedes? And how do you drive an 06 Saab convertible like a grandma? I don't know. I can't do it. I like to really feel the car, drive around, but you want to do so safely in your community. And again, I was not driving my girlfriend's vehicle, her truck, loaded down to the point that I would endanger that vehicle and hit the person in front of me, in this case, the safety officer. So I missed the first infraction meeting. I had a friend of mine that had passed away, an elderly lady. And so Jason McFeeney, he would be the director of safety. He rescheduled it for the next month. By the way, the next month, you figure this is an infraction for my driving. He did not attend, which meant that if out of all these people that are sitting there, there's like 12 altogether, and they all sit there pompously as if, well, their farts don't stink. I can say farts, right? Yeah, I think I can say farts. But seriously, he doesn't show up, so I can't address him. And therefore, I have to talk to this board, and I can't, again, face my accuser. This is in America, by the way. I live in America. So there were two questions asked of me. The first one was, why am I wearing sunglasses? Well, my reply was, I don't like the lighting there. Maybe it's a medical condition. Basically, it's none of your business why I am not wearing just regular glasses. I don't like you. On top of that, the individual that asked me, I believe it was Tony Croniker, I believe. I may be mistaken on names of these tyrants, but I really didn't want him to look in my beautiful hazel eyes and, well, you know that today, fall in love with me. I ain't about all that. I explained I wasn't happy not facing the accuser. My driving infraction was an opinion and a perspective of that accuser, and they remained silent except to say that in their silence, I was guilty, and they put a fine and imposed it on me, and that's all there is to it. Then I was asked, or should I say I asked them, has anyone ever made a mistake? Because I did receive a second infraction. This is a doozy. No one raised their hand or said a thing. Second infraction was for carrying my sidearm in my holster exposed. There is a little itty bitty sign on the outside of this community building office. And I have to tell you, I wear my gun, which, by the way, is on me, behind me, I'm sorry. I wear my gun as if you put on your shoes and socks. Think about it, folks. We live in a world that is extremely dangerous. I'm going to get over here to some of the comments before it gets too carried away here. By the way, I want to thank all of you. Hey, Ruth, what's going on? Let's look at this. Just Me writes, Imagine working your whole life to pay for a home, then paying someone else to tell you what you can and cannot do with that homes. HOA should be illegal across the country. I can't agree with you more. Let me give you a little clue here, just me. I pay property taxes. I'm going to just throw a number out there, $600 a year. I pay the Home Oppressors Association $1,000. I'm just rounding the numbers off. $1,000. Here, Chad says, I can't stand HOAs and I'd never buy a house with an HOA. Here goes another comment. If they are doing under the speed limit for 22 minutes, why didn't they have their emergency lights or at least four-way flashers on? Well, I will tell you, they did not have that on. In fact, what their job is when they're driving around, you're going to love it. Their eyes are trained to see whether your grass is 4 inches or 5 inches, so they can write you an infraction for having grass too long. They have vision so good that with your boat parked 40 feet off the road, they can see the inspection sticker and the numbers on that boat, and they need to make sure that it is current and up to date. In fact, they are so good with their vision, they want to see everything right down to the 3-inch lettering for both your address and your property lot number. Must be visible in 3-inch letters. Seriously, I can't make this stuff up. Yeah, and true. They are absolutely awful. So, continuing on. I asked them, has anyone here ever made a mistake? Guess what? Not one hand went up. So here I am sitting in front of gods in their own mind. And I said to them, yes, I carried my sidearm in. No, I didn't pay attention to the sign. I've only been in that office maybe 5 times in that less than 4-year period. I don't even know when they put the sign up. You would think that when they put a sign on display as such, that they'd have the section code number of the state. So someone said, you didn't see it. I said, no. But I said, you know what? I'm going to double down on this. Home Oppressors Association. The next time I go into the office with my sidearm exposed, I will pay not $1,000 for the first infraction to be included with the second infraction to be included, hoping for a pass. I said, I will pay 3 times that amount for the second time should I ever walk in there and literally have my sidearm exposed. They didn't want it. They wanted instant gratification. I'll bet you they on money. The men that are on the board, they could probably barely get a winky-dinky hard on. And I can guarantee you, if they do, Dictator Ferguson / Funguson, I'll bet you probably get off in about 7 seconds. Because that's about how much of a man you are, which is you're not a man. So I did. The second question again was, did you see the sign out there? I asked literally for mercy. I asked for justice. And they basically went, not once for the driving infraction, but like this for the gun. So I had to pay them $800. So what did I do? I'd take them to court. In August of this year, I actually filed a complaint on a safety officer of the lake for improper driving, and I forgot to put those pictures up. I am so sorry. But I think you guys are going to understand this when I describe the area. You have a road that comes into and tees into that road, which means there should be a stop sign, but there wasn't. And you have to look right for oncoming traffic. You have to look left for oncoming traffic. A safety officer blew through that drive. Again, there is no stop sign. Common sense should tell you to slow down. He was on his phone on the left-hand side. He did not see me driving down the road. I could have turned around. I mean, literally, I could have turned around and hit him, and I should have, which I didn't, Instead, I honked my horn, put my blinkers on, and zipped around them because I figure if you're not smart enough, you need to be behind me. I don't care. If I had ran you over, I wouldn't have felt bad because you broke the law. And yes, kings don't make mistakes, and that is for us peasants. Wait till you hear what's about ready to happen. And that's because, as Chad says here, that's because in most states, it's not actually illegal. The most they can usually do is trespass you, or in your case, fine you. Oh, my winky dinky. She laughs. So one more. It's like NJP, they aren't interested in justice. I believe she meant Karine Jean-Pierre. They're interested in punishment for assumed wrongdoings. Thank you. So I turned around that day when I returned from my scheduled appointments for the moment. I went right to the safety and I filed a complaint. Did I hear anything or anyone come back to me with the results of that complaint? No. I am not worthy of knowing how they handled that. And I did, yes, I will tell you, I did expect them to at least, Heath, you're dead on. It's a non-judicial punishment. They are stealing money from the residents. So I did not get any hearing from it. So October the 2nd, I went to an HOA meeting. When I went there were, and I can tell you about how many, there were well over probably 200 people or close to it. What's really funny about it is I walked from one end to the other end of the gymnasium, and in less than 4 minutes of technically videotaping every step I made walking through the door, video recording, everything I did walking through the door, within less than 4 minutes, I was approached by the director of safety, Jason McFeeney himself. And I didn't recognize him at first, but he came beelined right to me. And when he came beeline, I immediately said to him, "How did you handle my complaint?" "What complaint, Vince?" The complaint I wrote on your employee." He said, "We had some words. I talked about it to him." I said, "Excuse me?" He didn't get a $250 fine for his imprudent driving. And he said, "No, we only fine the residents. We do not fine our employees." I think everyone here should be able to think about that little expression, which is rules for thee, but not for me. And I said to him, "So when you had these words, was it over a couple beers? Smoking a joint, maybe?" "It wouldn't surprise me." This is how they do things. I actually presented or attempted to present that video to the judge, and the judge was kind enough to let me know. He was kind enough to let me know he felt, even though I didn't win, I actually didn't lose. Because, see, HOAs, Home Oppressors Associations, are privately owned by a group of, I'm just going to say like a trust fund. And technically, you cannot buck their system. And the answer to bucking their system is simply getting a petition together and having enough people file a petition to turn around and say, "Guess what? I am done with this insanity. I don't need you here." And then what happens is all their funds that are in, and thank you, by the way, Heath, for putting that in there. Heath had the answer. If I had a little prize to give out, I'd be giving it to Heath. But seriously, folks, it's rules for thee and not for me. Going back, these people are capable of doing anything to the residents, and yet they are told they do not do the same for. They do not do the same for. Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, at the last 5 minutes, we're going to have a special guest as his kiddos are sleeping. I'm going to leave it at that. I've got a guest coming on in the last 5 minutes of the show, which will probably be in about another half hour. I'm going to start doing shows, by the way, where they're just an hour long when they're by myself. Why? I want the guests to have twice the amount of time. Whoever comes on my program, the Vincent's voices, the voices in my head right now are rolling, but I want them to have that time. And you know, when I left that building, I was approached still by a second safety officer who is post-certified, John Oakes. It doesn't matter. Every time I see John, I think of my father. He looks exactly like him. He really does. Nice, beautiful, silver, full head of hair, unlike me, disappearing quickly. That's because of all the nerves and everything I'm under. I'm just kidding. It's just the way it is on some side of my family. But seriously, he approaches me and says, Vince, I'm all about the Second Amendment. Now, mind you, the state of Missouri is a Second Amendment sanctuary state. And he says, you know, you should be able to carry your sidearm. But, you know, the situation is this. He may agree with me and everything else, but he was at that initial infraction meeting, and he could have spoke up and say, you know, I know Vincent. He's not the kind that will ever go off the deep end. Oh, don't get me wrong. I am crazy, but I'm not insane. My nickname was Vinzanity, but I'm not insane. I even had someone in the community recently say, you are a dangerous man. I said, no. Anyone is capable of being a dangerous man. But you're reading me right because, yeah, I do have tools in my toolbox. So getting on with this, when I think about the fact that after an hour of listening to these blowhards, by the way, patting themselves on the back. By the way, HOAs are exactly like the school board members. They have a tendency of literally, and I mean this, they say how great they are, what they're doing, how they're doing, and they basically stroke everyone else that's there, or massage, whatever way you want to look at it, whatever their identity may be. They stroke each other's egos. And of course, more than anything, they place themselves on a pedestal. These people do no wrong, not at school board meetings, and damn sure not at the HOA. So think about this, folks. I had security come up to me in less than 5 minutes. Actually, it was 3 minutes and 38 seconds of walking in at the very end of the gymnasium and have a discussion that was 10 minutes long with this director of safety, Jason McFeeny. As I leave, I have the second post-certified come out, talk to me about how lovely it is to have the Second Amendment, blah, 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 and that he believes in it. I got to tell you something. It's wrong. Harass, oppress, and, oh, I love this, Dave. Oh, my goodness. Godfather, look what the Godfather offered us. HOA, harass, oppress, and asinine. It is. It is. That's the result. You know, I have to tell you something. I feel like I was harassed on that day. I don't know about you folks, but I'm going to say it to you the way I feel. I was harassed by the safety director and by one of his cohorts. And I've got to tell you, I'm not very happy about either one of them, naturally. I'm trying to put out a ladybug. I'm going to just put it out. There it goes. He's dead. One of those Japanese beetles. They got to find refuge somewhere, I guess, for the winter. But I feel harassed. Let me know in the comments. Would you feel harassed if you go into a safety meeting, into a board, a homeowners association meeting for the Lake Viking Association? Don't you think that's harassment when out of 200 people, they come right to me? They've got their sights on me. That's what they tell me. I am a target. They don't like me because I'm willing to fight for what is right. So I read all this that I just spoke to you about. And I also included on it, in my court case, I also included this little bit of tidbit of information. According to the Missouri Revised Statutes, a person who knowingly carries a concealed weapon on property that has posted signs displaying prohibition of weapons is committing the offense of unlawful use of weapons. The penalty for violating this law is a Class B misdemeanor. So everyone's probably saying, scratch your head, say, wait a second, Vince. You went in there, you had a sign, You carry your gun, you did something wrong. Ah, the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say. However, if you have a concealed carry license, you won't be charged with a crime for violating these restrictions. Well, guess what, folks? I paid $500 and I'm going to move on. I'm going to tell you one more little tidbit of information that would be very good for anyone who's dealing with the Home Oppressors Association, which is this: the law of the land. The general misconception is that any statute passed by legislators, or in this case, in parentheses, homeowners associations, bearing the appearance of law constitutes the law of the land. The U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and any statute to be valid must be in agreement. It is impossible, key words here, it is impossible for a law which violates the Constitution to be valid. This is succinctly stated as follows: all laws which are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void. Marbury versus Madison, 5 U.S. in parentheses 2 Cranch, C-R-A-N-C-H, 137, 174, 176, and that was back in 1803. So someone said, are there bylaws in the handbook which says that this signage really is legal? I have to tell you, haven't found it yet. But I'm looking. And the handbook itself is a 20-year-old handbook. They have not updated it. So let's go up here. Busted. Been busted for things that I did and I didn't do. I know. And they wonder why he's insane. That must be me. Oh gosh. I figured you'd know that song. Okay. Oh, okay. These guys are a big, huge, that, by the way, Waylon, I guess, Jennings fan. Again, but that's why I'd never live in an HOA. And Heath, you're absolutely right. How dare I question their authority? Tell California that, New York too. If you still want me to come in, I can do the last 5 minutes. Kiddo is cranky and sleeping in a room. Well, right now, don't call you on. I think maybe I will be okay. Would love to have you on just the same. We'll play it by ear. You know, folks, this is this is the country we live in. So let me give you what I feel you would all appreciate. Are you ready for this? I love it. Anyone laughing out there? Come on, I got to see a couple laughs. Got to see some comments coming up. Well, this I put on Facebook, which was the Lake Viking Association, Missouri, is the Home Oppressors Association from hell. Rules for thee, but not for me. Director of Safety, Jason McFeeney, said, residents, those that buy these properties, that live on these properties, get infractions and not the employees or staff. I don't know about you folks, but do you think that's fair? No, it's not. In fact, on that day that I went to that Home Oppressors Association, Lake Viking, Valkyrie, whatever they call themselves, we were given these little voting cards. Ooh, I took one with me. Oh, well, what use is it anyway? Because I'll tell you why this is of no use. 75 people voted to not increase the property dues come May the 1st. 73 people said yes. And those 73 people, of course, are all the brown-nosing, ass-kicking, SOB, super rich, could care less people. And they are part of the problem. They are majorly, I've always been crazy, but it's kept from me from going insane. There you go. Love some more Waylon, I guess. But you know, the thing is, 73 people said, yes, increase our property tax. So again, you do know You do know that they are rich. People like myself and many, many other people voted no. Are you ready for this? I can't make this. I can't make this shit up. This is probably going to be the one podcast that I'm really cutting loose on the words. They went into a special session the next day, and they still pushed the agenda of increasing the property taxes from $1,000, give or take, up to $1,300. That's 100% and then some of my property taxes I pay to this county. So I'm not happy with these people. It was also brought to my attention, believe it or not, we voted for no jetty to be built out on the lake. No jetty. Why did a lot of people say no to it? Because they really want them to get in control of using a dredger so they can dredge the shorelines, get all the garbage out, so people can put their boats in and enjoy the lake property, shoreline property of which they own. And yet these people, what do? They turn around and they are dumping and paving a road, starting the jetty anyway. I had to take pictures of this because I had to see it for myself. There you go. You can't make this shit up. They are telling us they're going to do it anyway. These people are completely wrong. That leads to, from that area here, leads to going up the road. And then, of course, we have this. You can see the full chain exchange of. And, of course, you've got the road that leads down to the jetty right now. And I can't wait to show you another picture. They are actually, believe it or not, building this little area. They're building this dirt up for some reason. I believe it's going to be for a pass. So it doesn't really matter. It's a building that I know we just don't need. I am sure. This is how bad the people are. And there you go. You can look at you can see the director, the dictator, Funguson right there in his truck. And boy, oh boy, he was out of his truck when he noticed me pull up as I was taking pictures. And then he sits there, and if you notice, he's looking at me hard. He doesn't like me at all. Well, guess what? I don't care. I do not care. I'm doing the right thing for the residents here. I may be brash. I may be mouthy. I may be in your face with facts. But you know what? He who dares not offend cannot be honest. I'm an honest man. That came from Thomas Paine. Friends of mine are like, hey, Vince, you ought to do stand-up comedy. I'm like, really? Why? Give that little piece that you always give. Okay, audience, let me tell you something about me. I'm arrogant, obnoxious, belligerent, sarcastic, and incorrigible. If you don't like me, you can just, with a little patience and understanding, you can get to tolerate me. If you don't like me, I don't care. I've got too many people that love me. And by the way, you can go yourself. That's all I can say about that. And those, my friends, are truly my favorite and best qualities yet. I kid you not. You cannot make this stuff up. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to give you basically 19 bullet points that I learned from the residents who are, in fact, the few that are speaking with me. The lake was closed on a rainy day. Have they met with DNR to get permission to build that jetty? That's a good question. There's got to be a protected fish in that lake or a protected bird around that lake. You know what? Just me. I can't wait because I was going through the 19 points, and I'll jump down to that one to answer your question. The DNR, believe it or not, the Missouri Conservation Department, has put fish into that lake. If anyone understands this, when the Missouri Conservation Department or the Department of Natural Resources puts fish into a lake, it makes the lake a non-private lake, and it makes it open to the public. They will not let anyone on the lake unless they register their boats, and the only way to register your boats with the communist community of the Lake Viking Association is to be a resident of that lake, which means, my friend, just me, I hate to say just me, I know who you are. I wish I could call you up and say, hey, brother, bring your boat out. We'll do some fishing. Can't do it. I can't do it. And yet that lake is stocked by the tax-paying money of the Missourian citizens. But I'm going to continue on. The lake was closed due to rain. That's common sense. No one wants to be out there getting struck by lightning. Am I right? Nah. Very factual. Very good. But people that were on the shoreline, mind you, I am not an angler. That's a pretty big word for me. In case those that don't know what an angler is, it is a fisherman, not to insult anyone here. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not an angler, and those people were fishing off their docks. They were fishing off their property on the shoreline. They went around and gave tickets of infractions. I don't know how much it cost. All I can say is 50, $100. That's completely wrong. You own that property. I'll tell you what, I'm not an angler or a fisherman, but I know one thing. I've spoken to enough men and women who are, and they say that fish have a tendency of really biting their hooks when it's raining. It's like manna from heaven to them. They think there's a whole bunch of bugs or whatever dropping, and they just want to eat. So they catch many, many fish during that kind of situation. So yes, they actually got infractions for fishing off of their shorelines. Now, point number two people who are listed as owner of one lot. Notice what I'm going to say. 1/2 acre lot, two people that own it, they both have to pay the lot fees. The homeowners association, you have to pay, both of you have to pay for that 1/2 acre. I don't know. A lot is a lot is a lot. One lot is a lot, which tells me if that lot is supposed to be, quote unquote, given a bill for $1,000, why are they getting $2,000? That is completely wrong. 10 months restricted hours to use the dump facilities. This is one of my favorite ones. No sign was made. For 10 months, they restricted residents from dumping, except for set hours and days. In fact, it was Wednesday through Sunday from the times of 3 o'clock in the afternoon to the time of 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, there is a good reason for it. A lot of these rich people that can afford their property, basically fees going up, have contractors that come in and use the dumpster facilities as they want. I get it. I do get it. These nimrods couldn't put up a sign that says closed Monday and Tuesday, open Wednesday through Sunday from 3 to 5. And they could have easily painted a piece of plywood. That's the common sense under this dictator, Funguson. No common sense. For 10 months this went on. I got to tell you, folks, it's only going to get worse. And it does. It gets worse. A special road committee that worked with the MoDOT, that would be the Missouri Department of Transportation. We all know how great they are under Buttigieg, Secretary of in Washington, D.C. Anyway, these clowns put up $1,200 solar signs with limited sight ahead when, hello, reality check, you can see a squirrel cross the road 1 mile in front of you. And on top of that, they placed a double line there. What the is going on? No common sense. If I am behind, let's say I am pulling my RV to place on that lake, I'm not going to drive there at 45 miles an hour, by the way, which is posted. I'm not going to drive 45. I'm new to the area. I want to put my trailer in or my boat. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to drive probably 30 miles an hour. That's called common sense. But when you have a mile of passage of which you can see, and you have this money being spent on signs that say you can't see, I'll tell you what, that double line doesn't mean diddly squat to me whatsoever. I pass slow pokes every day of the week, twice on Sunday. You want to drive like a Sunday driver, enjoy nature, see a bird, see a cricket, I don't care. I'm going to pass you if you're doing 30 miles an hour on that road. And there are 2 roads, by the way. One, you can actually see it's a good mile plus or close to a mile. You're going down and up a hill. You've got to be blind as a bat not to be able to see traffic oncoming. And yet again, they put a double line. And I'm going to say it point blank. I pass on double lines on that road because it's not common sense. It's typically just not common sense. And to allow someone to impede your travel is, in fact, wrong. What if I did have an emergency? What if I needed to go to the hospital? I'm going to turn around, and I kid you not, I'm going to turn around and pass with my blinkers on, beeping my horn every day of the week. So, our dues are being used on the stock market. $2.1 million. How does a Home Oppressors Association accumulate $2.1 million to play on the stock market? That's because they fudged their books. They pencil in numbers. They need to be held accountable by doing a state audit. The Attorney General needs to step in and say, no, we have enough people that sign a petition. We're going to close you down, put a freeze on those accounts. That money is going to go back to the state, and we are going to place in, the state would, a post office, a municipality of sorts, maybe a small health clinic, maybe even a small library. We all love libraries, don't we? But how much money is skimmed to the board members who do voluntary work? And believe me, they give these little awards out with little gift cards. That's skimming. That's there's another word for that. Someone give it to me. I'm not even reading the comments yet. Wow, we've had 17 cents. I can't think of the word offhand. I honestly can't. But they're skimming. But 4.5 million is moved around in various accounts as we know it right now. The money is like a rabbit going from one hole to another. And it is not reproducing whole either, except to screw the residents out of more money. They are cooking books. Again, penciling in false amounts. I can't make this up. The Lake Viking Association wants restaurants and boutique shops, which will pad whose pockets, as the LVA wants them to have 100% of the profits in the long run. They're going to run those businesses out, keep them going, and take that money. Again, leaving the residents to foot those bills. Who's dipping their that salad or dipping into the salad bowl of that money? It's all the board members. It's all the trustees. It's all those that are in charge that you do not get to see. They are like Oz behind the curtain. You don't see them. You see this ugliness, the ugly serpent's head out there. The jetty to be built without the agreement of the residents has already broken ground. That is what I just showed you. Now, this is a real sweet one. This year, we had to pay an additional $100 on our fees, our lot fees. The community campgrounds needed electricity, and yet we, the residents, are paying for that dues of $100. And why do the residents have to pay $100 for those that have campground lots that they lease from the Lake Viking Association? Why do we have to pay for their electricity? I don't know about you, but they don't pay for my electric bill. Just saying. And of course, this is supposedly only a one-time fee. I guarantee you, if it's not electricity, next year it'll be plumbing. If it's not plumbing, it'll be trash pickup. It will be something. That's why they are thieves. That's why they are corrupt. I'm going to continue on. I'm sorry. As I told you earlier, just me, the lake is stocked by the Missouri Conservation Department with fish, but the public can't fish on that lake. It is not open to the public. It's a private lake. That is wrong. That the citizens of Missouri who live in the surrounding counties cannot come down and fish on that lake. Zebra mussels. They haven't posted. Zebra mussels. I haven't seen hide or hair of a zebra mussel. In fact, truth be told, from my resources of working with the Missouri Conservation Department, there aren't one zebra mussel in that lake. And yet they charge you to pull your boat out and hot water clean, pressure clean, high pressure clean your boats. That is called bullshit. They are lying to you. There are no zebra mussels. The Lake Viking Home Oppressors Association wants to set driving laws in place, yet at a T in the road again with no stop sign. At the maintenance road, this is. It's called no common sense. Put a sign there. I almost killed someone. Have they yet to do it? No. Did they do it back then when I told them back in August? No. They want someone to die. Maybe they want me to run them over. I don't know. I got to be a 4x4 Ram Hemi 5.7. And I like my truck. Never had a truck in my life. I've had 80 vehicles before these last two pick-em-up trucks. Gotta say, gotta get yourself a 4x4. And a Dodge Ram, of course, is a good vehicle. The HOA, now this is a really sweet one, demands you to destroy your vehicles by driving on one side of the road. If you are caught driving on the middle, if you are caught driving on the far left, and you know there's no one coming at you, to avoid the monumental bumps, to avoid the monumental depths of the abyss of these potholes, and I'm not exaggerating, you are going to be replacing your front end of your automobile at least once, if not twice a year, if you stay on one side of that road. That's how poorly maintained these roads are. And I'm okay with driving 30 miles an hour, hit a bump, kind of miss around, or, swerve. But if they catch you swerving, you get an infraction. Okay, I avoid as many of them as I can. Here goes this is something that's a big bone of contention to me. 4x4s, ATVs, four-wheelers, whatever you call them, golf carts, whatever. These drivers, most of them don't have turn signals. They don't use their arms. They don't know how to say brake, left-hand turn, right-hand turn. They don't. Put the hands out to the side, stop. They don't do that. Why? Most of them are drunk. And I mean that. I have seen beer six-packs fall off. They slam on their brakes to pick up the six-pack with a beer in their hand. I've seen dogs jump out of these carts. I've seen kids fall out or jump out of these little carts, these little machines. And I've got to tell you something, folks. If I were driving one of those vehicles, common sense in my head says, whoa, there's a 4,000-pound car behind me. There's an 8,000-pound truck behind me. I better pull over before they run my little ass over. I don't want to die from someone who may be driving a truck that is drunk or a car because of my disrespect, my stupidity, and my lack of common sense. Hey, by the way, let me know if I'm, doing something or saying something wrong here. I appreciate correction more than I do endorsement. That I will tell you. ATVs, and again, these guys, they do everything wrong, no turn signals or whatsoever. And they do jeopardize their own lives. The previous maintenance supervisor, Chadwick, broke down the dredging boat 3 to 4 times, costing an undue amount of money to repair because he wasn't properly trained or certified to be an operator of that machine. There's a ceramic in the pumps. There's a ceramic, basically a washer. And if you get enough sand, dirt, so on and so forth, it wears the ceramic thickness from there down to here. Then you get a fractured crack. And now you've got a pump that is completely destroyed. I know you guys are thinking, damn, Vince, you got it going on. You even know about dredging pumps and ships. Well, actually, I do have a little bit of game because I've had friends teach me. And truth be told, you put a moron who's dredging in the wrong area and they turn around and screw up those pumps, that's a $75,000 to $80,000 cost minimum. So here we go. If you enter the property, it says security cameras around the lake. Security cameras on the lake. You know what that does? It gives you a sense of security. It makes you say to yourself, damn, Big Brother's watching, but I'm okay with it. I'm going to see, or we're going to see the nefarious people that come on our property that may burn houses down, that may destroy boats, so on and so forth. So to me, that was one of the top selling features of my home. I felt somewhat safe. Actually, that is a prevarication. Again, folks, I love my words. Don't mean to say anything. Love, like, and share, by the way. I love my words. It's a lie. They don't have them all around the lake. Oh, they've got them in their little office. So when you go in with your gun holstered in a sidearm holstered, and they're so afraid of you. Yeah, they've got video cameras in there, but they don't have them around the lake. And on top of that, safety is not here 24 hours a day. I love to say that. They all go home at 10 o'clock at night, which means multi-million-dollar houses that are unoccupied for the winter by the snowbirds that are so rich to want to pay more, higher property dues. They can have their houses fixed, I guess. I don't know. But they lie. These people are liars and they are thieves. The two things I really detest the most. At least with a thief, you can replace property. With a lie, you'll never, ever, ever be able to rebuild that confidence in that individual who lies to you. They have taken that trust away from you. So, on with the show. Residents now are told that they have to join a condo app. A condo app. A condo app. And you want to know what we have to do? We are told that we need to take the license plate numbers and the make of the vehicle of our guests and submit it to the safety people, police, the Nazis. We actually have to answer to the Nazis of our grandmoms, our aunts, our uncles, our friends, and let them know who's coming over to our house, when they're coming over to our house. You know what I say? Bullshit. I am a good character. I'm not going to have anyone here that's going to turn around and do any harm to anyone on this lake purposely. They may unintentionally hit them with their car. A car hits cars, bumper, fender benders happen all the time. But no, you're not going to get that information. Oh, well, let me tell you another something about that information. By the way, that's called an overreach of the Privacy Act. Let me give you a little bit more here. It is unconstitutional to do this. They also want us to tell them what pets we have, what breeds they are, and maybe color identification, so on and so forth. I don't know how to say this any other way. Do you, Lake Viking Association, Home Oppressors Association, do you clowns pay for my vet bills? Do you clowns pay for my food for my cats and dogs? And my beta fish, I've got 17. They all live in different tanks. I'm just kidding. That would be called a white lie. I'm just messing around. But seriously, they want to know what dogs and cats we have, what breed they are, how big they are. They want to know if they, next thing you know, they're going to say, can we see their shot records? Yeah. They're not paying for you, for your pleasures in life, for you to enjoy your home and have a couple cats or dogs. They are not paying 1 cent for you to give them 1 penny of knowledge about your pets. Do I fear sometimes that one of my cats, who's a 4-legged cat that goes outside all the time, do I fear that he might get ran over by one of these ATVs or people that are just mean? Yes. Thank goodness I've taught my cat to stay off the road. He only walks across the road with me as I go to my mailbox, and he returns and comes back up. If I start a car in my parking lot, he runs and hides. And he comes in on a dinner bell. I've got 2 other cats I'm going to share because they feel neglected if I didn't mention them. One cat got shot about 2 years ago, lost a leg. We call him Lucky, Fatties, you name it. He's got a ton of names. And my little joy is Hobbles or Hobbs. And Hobbs is paralyzed. He was born with spina bifida. He can't use his back legs at all. I'm not asking for pity for my cats. But if you go to Citizen Kane and look at my videos, you'll, you have to go, I think you have to go all the way down to see the video of how he gets up the staircase using just his upper body and two front claws to go up. It's amazing. I'll never have those two cats outside because, again, they don't stand a chance with a fox, a coyote, a raccoon, a possum, what have you. But my Casey dog does. And Hobbs, by the way, he fetches. Enough about my cats. They are not going to know about my cats. They are not going to know about my fish. They're not going to know if I decide to get a dog. Which, by the way, out here, they do request and expect you to walk your dogs on a leash. That is common sense. You never know when a dog's going to see a deer, a rabbit, a squirrel, and they run. They run. And there are only about 75 to 90 full-time residents out here on the lake that live here every month and day of the year. Out of 1,800 residents and an additional 1,000 empty lots. So out of 1,800 residents, I'm trying to do the math up in my head, folks. Let's say 80. You're looking at less than two, not even. I think it would be 0.2%. Someone do the math for me over there. Come on. I know you will. But seriously, there's like 90 full-time residents here. And you tell me that these other 1,720 residents are so rich that they don't mind paying extra property taxes. That is insane. And I didn't notice, really, I have to say this. I'm thinking now, reflecting in my mind. You guys are helping me here, by the way. I wonder how many empty lot owners show up at the Home Oppressors Association meetings when they are talking about lot fees going up. Because I'll tell you what, with 1,800 residents and 1,000 lot owners, I'm going to throw a number out there, 2,500 people. We should have been able to pack a fucking a stadium with 2,500 people and less than 200 people. And actually, if you remember my voting count, 75 said no, 73 said yes to increasing the property fees. And yet they still the next day went into private session and said, to hell with this. We're going to tell those that said no to go to hell. It was an election. It was a vote. And again, how many of these people do they actually reach out and say in a newsletter or a personal letter, say, come join a meeting. We're talking about increasing your property fees. I'll guarantee you, you'd have 3,000 people here. And that's the whole thing. They don't do it. It's suppressing the vote. It's suppressing the delegation of literally the processes of voting for a yay or a nay on a proposal that you like or you don't like. And for me to now realize only 150 less than, because I walked out with my voter card. I'm hoping to use this someday to say I vote all you morons completely off this property. So this is bad, very bad. The administrators and moderators on a Facebook page, by the way, will not allow me to join in. Now, I'm not asking for pity, and I'm not asking like, oh, poor Vince, he can't get on the Facebook page of the Lake Viking Association. Well, again, because I am the adorable man that I am, the purveyor of truthful information, they don't like this thorn. They don't like this pain in their ass, in short. But you know what I don't like? The fact that they don't have enough of a heart to put out an alert saying, hey, guess what? Tornadoes coming our way. Hey, guess what? Hailstorm coming our way. Hey, guess what? Torrential rains coming our way. Hey, guess what? It's been raining for 7 days. Looks like the lake might be flooding. Prepare your homes for. I am not a good enough citizen of the Lake Viking Association for which to be forewarned about any kind of dangerous situation, because these moderators are a bunch of freaking feckless pieces of shit. And yeah, I called them what they are. They care only about those that will roll along with their programs, but not about a man that says, hey, guess what? I got to stand out for the crowd I'm not in agreement with. So I can't join the Lake Viking Association Facebook page. They have denied me any kind of access to it. And last but not least, again, like I said, we live in a I live in a communistic community. And anyone that dares tell me that I don't, I'll tell them bullshit and go to hell because you're stupid, ignorant. You're just a dumb mother. I'm going to read my last piece here. I think you're going to enjoy this. This is an article about an HOA. This HOA trying to ban all guns in the entire HOA controlled area. This person moved into an HOA about a year ago and have not had any major trouble until about December. I finally got the chance to go to the range and started loading up my car. I guess someone reported me because I got a notice stating that they wanted to inspect my property. They said that I was spotted with several assault rifles. I was loading the ARs, my AK, and my SETB, and my KRLs into the trunk while open carry. I open carrying while loading up as I transport several $1,000s worth of firearms. I don't take chances. In other words, he was protecting himself in the event that some criminal would come up behind him and try to maybe hit him with a baseball bat and steal his guns. Then we have more illegal guns on the streets. So this man obviously is a respectful gun owner. So they come and inspect the house and want me to open my gun safe. To avoid any kind of confrontation, I complied. One of the HOA people basically told me that I would need to get rid of these weapons. I laughed at them, telling them that they had no right to even say that. Told them that they had no CC and Rs regarding firearms. Well, they wrote them up the next morning and they voted them in. I received 2 notices to remove all firearms from my home. They then took to a further step and posted that 30-odd 6s and 30-odd 7 signs at the entrances to the neighborhood, at the community pool, at both ends of each block, and sent me a flyer with them stating that the neighborhood was a gun-free zone. I attended the next meeting of the HOA to try to address the issue. When I stood up to speak, I was kindly asked to sit down. Sound familiar, Heath? Sound familiar, Travis? Sound familiar, Dan Landy? Paula, Pastor Lonnie, your wife, Colleen? Yeah, this is what the school board does to you, too. You are not allowed to just walk in, sit right down, raise your hand, and have a word. You can't do it. So I attended the next board meeting to try to address the issue. When I stood up to speak, I was kindly asked to sit down as they had to discuss the firearm rules to death at that meeting. I was given no option to say anything and was asked to leave when I refused to sit down. What can I do here? So, just learned that the provisions for possession of firearms are toothless. To appease the gun owners in the community, the rules regarding possession of firearms basically has no penalty schedule with it. Literally, the most they can do is hand out a written warning and a suggestion and a monetary payment. In other words, they'll charge you to have your guns, or they'll give you an infraction. And yes, they wouldn't have gotten into my house without a warrant. Correct. I never will let anyone come out in here. I put my sidearm on. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. Going to continue with this article. Literally, the most they can do is a written warning and suggest a monetary payment, an infraction of sorts. But basically, compliance with this rule is not compulsory. It's voluntary. They can tell us what to do, and we can tell them to just go away. I'm trying to look at this. Okay. I can't read the first couple words, so I'm going to go like this. That being said, I am told this is still an issue, and as this can be used against homeowners if they try to seize our house. The judge would look at this as a history of disregarding the rules, or however my friend put it. So I am not too worried at the moment. But so far, I have spoken with 2 of my gun-owning neighbors. They are on board with getting more gun owners on the Home Oppressors Association. Folks, there is power. You have to elect these people out of office, and that goes with school boards as well. We have 2 positions opening up in Cameron in the spring. Folks, I kid you not. Cameron, Missouri, listen and listen well. You have an opportunity to change the history of that town. You have the opportunity to make sure that these board members that you're going to be sitting with know that you're not part of their policy bending censorship, that you are not going to play their clown games. On every homeowners association, vote them the out if they try to go into your house to see how many guns you have. They have no right to be in your house. And just me, you said it very well. They did not have a warrant to go in that man's house. He was kind enough to say, hey, this is me. And you know what I say? You're not going to get any of that out of me. And if they come on my property, I have signs posted. Let me make sure I'm remembering this. Gosh darn it, I can't remember it. I know it's one of those cute ones. Yeah, trespassers will be shot. If you survive, you'll be shot twice. Yeah, that's how it goes, folks. That's the stupidity of this nation. That's the stupidity. Me. I was stupid. You want to know why? I did not read the deed clause. I trusted my realtor. I wish I could say, and I do love her, nice little old Christian lady, wanting only to make that buck, but she never said, Vince, this is important to read. You are signing your life. You are signing your house. You are signing your property away to the Home Oppressors Association. Folks, if you don't believe me, ask someone. Ask someone. And friends of mine told me left and right, you are not going to like what they are doing, Vince. You are not going to like at all. At all. You are not going to like living under a Home Oppressors Association. You know what I said? I'll be okay. But you know what? I'm up for the fight. Tomorrow is my deadline for an appeal. I have finally been able to contact an attorney. I'm hoping that he's going to put in what's called a trial de novo to get an appeal through a circuit court judge. I'm going to rape these people. I'm going to hang their balls on a wall. I'm going to post a few titties there too. Why? I am not happy living in a communist society. I don't deserve it. I love my house. I love the few neighbors I know. And outside of that, all I can say is voraciously yours from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being a part of this. And remember, you can make a difference. All you have to do is stand up and tell them you want that difference. Amen, brother. Amen, sister.